So this is a 1 watt tube amp with an 8-inch speaker. It really has that Supro vibe. And who is it for? Well, I think it's amazing for practicing at home because it's only 1 watt. It's not very loud, and you also have the master volume. So you can get that natural tube amp saturation without being way too loud. I also use it here in my studio. I keep it close to my desk so I can use it for songwriting without, again, being way too loud. I really like to have a tube amp when writing guitar riffs, and it's so compact and small that I can keep it close to my desk. You can use it to record guitar at home. You can use a mic in front of it or the line out. I will talk more about that a bit later. And to me, most importantly, I can use it here in my studio as well for recording. I really like to blend amps when I'm recording guitars, and a common thing to do is to blend a small amp with a smaller amp. I even saw Phil X recently talking about this. He's also using a small Supro amp with an 8-inch speaker. Blends really well together with a big 4x12 cabinet, and it fills in some frequencies there and makes the whole sound bigger and better. Yeah, I would say it is too small to handle a drummer, but if you play in a really quiet band, yeah, that might work. I also really like the boost on the amp, and you can also control that with a foot switch if you want to. And going back to the line out, I used that for the intro track of this video. And I did so with using the Delta King 8 as a preamp module and sending that preamp signal to my bigger Supro. And I got some really cool tones doing that. You can hear it in solo right now. So you sort of have that character of that amp in a bigger size because that amp is bigger. I mean, the other Supro that I have. So that's a really cool trick to do when you are in a studio. You can also use the line out going directly into your audio interface. There is no speaker emulation on that signal, so you need to add that in your DAW. You can do that with some free IR plugins. I was even able to use some plugins that came with Logic, so it depends a bit on what DAW you're in, but keep that in mind. If you want to use the line out, as far as I can see, you will need some sort of speaker emulation before you get some really good tones. But saying that, I actually used the line out directly into my audio interface without any speaker emulation on the intro track because I wanted a sort of weird sound. Here's that. And what I always like to do with new amps is to play in the speakers, and I'm really looking forward to use this amp more and see how it will sound later down the road when I've played the amp for 10 hours and even 20, 30 hours. Right now, I think when you're cranking the amp, it gets a bit fizzy in the top end. You can control that with using an overdrive pedal and getting some gain from that instead of cranking the amp, so that's not really an issue. But yeah, that's something that I've noticed when I played it for a bit now, that it can get a bit fizzy. It's not really a big surprise. It's a very small amp. It's 1 watt and the speaker is 8-inch, but it will be interesting to see if that loosens up a bit when I get to play the amp more and break in the speaker. And I want to say again, even though I've said it many times on this channel, I really wish I had this amp when I was 15. You know, getting a decent practice amplifier back then was really difficult. We have so much good gear to use for practice and recording, and the Delta King 8 is definitely one of them. I guess YouTube is recommending that you check out this video. Please do so. Goodbye.